before, this is the Alembic, and I'm Michael Taft, and we're going to meditate a bunch. Generally that occurs for the next hour, and what we're going to do is I'm going to lead a guided meditation, so I'll be talking, and you can either follow along, you're invited to follow along and do what I'm suggesting you do, or not. You can sit and do your own meditation, that's fine, as long as it's quiet. Like if you have a singing out loud meditation, then you have to go somewhere else. But for whatever silent thing you want to do, please feel free to do that here while I'm guiding the meditation. A third thing that can happen is that I'm kind of guiding along in a sequence of things, and you sort of like how it's going, and then at a certain point, it's like I'll go off into some direction, and you're like, that's not for me. And so you're welcome to just stay there and do what we were doing, and while the rest of us toddle on to something else, right? So it's choose your own meditation adventure this evening, and then as Katie mentioned, we'll do some, when we're done, I'll talk for a while, and then we can do some Q&A, or you can tell me how your experience was, things like that. We'll bring around a microphone. And then at the very end, we'll do about some 5-8 minutes, something like that, another little bumper, last little hit of meditation before we're done, and then you're invited to do all the super important stuff with your cushions, and then go out into the lobby and hang out and have some tea and snacks and so on. The Olympic has quite a opulent snacks budget. And so feel free to partake of our wondrous snacks and tea that are always there. Okay, let's do just a couple movements together, okay, like we always do. So this is just for people to kind of loosen up a little bit. Remember, your body and mind are intimately connected, really not separate at all. And so if your body is kind of stiff and tight and crystallized, so is your mind. So we're going to begin by just doing some stuff like this, breathing in and reaching up and expanding your ribs, and then breathing there a little bit. Make this work for you, of course, only do stuff that feels good for your body. And come down. And then over to one side, trying not to beam your neighbor. And opening up your side ribs really far, and just sit here and breathe in this position for a minute. Letting that feel good and feel open and feel relaxing. And then coming back up. Go the other way. I recommend not getting any older if you don't want this to start. Another really good one for meditation, but you gotta, again, adjust it to work with your own back, is to just go all the way forward. If you're in a chair, you just go straight down. But you want to get that lower back and around the top of the pelvis open, and you can kind of move side to side very, very gently. And then my favorite one, which is just the freak out part, so just do whatever, loosen stuff up. You guys aren't being anywhere near weird enough. Just very tame freak out. And then my favorite one, which is kind of do circles with your spine one way, and then do circles with your spine the other way. And then do circles with your spine whichever way you want. And this is the good part, this is what gets really awesome. You just make smaller and smaller circles. Make sure your neck is kind of flopping around too. smaller and smaller circles until you can't actually tell whether you're moving anymore or not. And you just kind of settle into that nice, perfect spot where your spine is just balanced upright. It feels just great. If you're sitting in a chair, I do recommend that you sit away from the back so you're actually still, feet are on the floor and you're supporting your spine with your spine muscles, not the back of the chair, because otherwise you'll always be kind of slumped. And slumped is not that great for what we're doing. Okay, and then as usual, we're going to start out with a little bit of seed syllable chanting. We'll keep it really simple tonight. We'll just chant the seed syllable hum. Would be spelled in English something like H-O-O-M. And remember, I'm going to chant it at a pitch, but you don't have to be at that pitch. You can be at a different pitch. And also, I'm going to take breaths, but that doesn't mean we're stopping. And you can take breaths too, and in fact, everyone in the room can take breaths at different times. So it's just like a continuous hum, right? Hum. And the idea is we're going to rest as wide open as eyes. You don't need your brain to do this, right? There's just it's as simple as we're going to sit and chant hum, but you do need your heart, right? You can just let your mind go and just allow the mood of hum to come out. Remember that hum is a bija mantra, it's a seed syllable mantra that is, originally was used for like magic rituals to dispel demons and stuff, but the sort of like deeper use of it is to dispel delusions. So we're clearing our own sort of like deluded mind. And you can feel that as we go further and further with hum, okay? So we're going to do that for a few minutes. So you just kind of ride on the energy, let your mind go, and just feel the sound. let's do a little pranayama. We'll do alternate nostril breathing for about 3 minutes. If you know how to do that, go ahead and do it. Remember, sit up straight. If you don't know how to do it, you do it like this. Make your hand like that. So you've got your 2 middle fingers together. And then you plug your right nostril with your thumb, using your right hand. Breathe in. Then plug that with those 2 fingers. Breathe it out the right. And you switch. Breathe in the right. Plug it. Breathe out the left. Breathe in the left. Switch. Breathe out the right. Breathe in the right. Switch. Breathe out the left. So just close your eyes. Do this very slowly and gently, and keep your energy focused at your third eye. If you want to, you can keep doing the seed syllable hum, hum, hum as you do this, or you can do om, would work too. So we're going to do this for another couple minutes. Remember, if you are doing the alternate nostril breathing, sit up nice and straight. This is a kind of bi-hemispheric stimulation. It's very soothing and balancing. Tends to slow down the mind from all the busy racing for the day. Gets us much into a mood where it's much easier to meditate. Good, so we started on a left nostril in breath, so end on a left nostril out breath to keep it all nice and balanced. And then just sit for a minute and notice how you feel. Usually it's somewhat soothing and balancing and calming, so the mind is a little more at ease. And what I'd like you to do here is be the sky. Okay, meditate as if you are the sky. So we just open up to the spaciousness of the sky, the openness of the sky, the limitlessness, boundaryless quality of the sky. Not generating any of that in our imagination, but simply allowing ourselves to find that sky-like aspect of awareness. And here what I'd like you to do is, as you rest as the sky, which again, it's already there, we're not generating a sky or imagining a sky. It's just sky-like. It's this openness quality, simple, open presence. What I'd like you to do is one of two things. If you like breath style meditation, just notice the coming and going of the breath wave in that sky. We're not really focusing on the breath, we're just simply being sky, and there's like the wind of the breath moving through the sky in a very open, relaxed, gentle way. If you're into or good at visualization, you can try a different one, which is in that sky, see a bright full moon and focus on that. Again, not in a hard focus way, in a nice, open, being with the whole sky while seeing the moon. We just had a nice full moon, so you may, a couple days ago, so maybe you saw that. Either way, it's a gentle focus object. For some folks, the visualization one is easier, actually. So 99% of yourself is not focusing on anything. It's just wide open awareness. And then maybe just a tiny percentage, we'll say 4% is on the breath or the moon, just a little bit, just a nice stabilization. And then that last 1% is a mystery. Who knows what's going on with that? So let's just sit and meditate on this for a while together. An important thing here is to have a hands-off policy with regard to your thinking mind. Okay? It gets to think as much as it wants. You're not trying to interfere with that. But neither are you engaging with any of the thought activity. It's just over there somewhere doing its thing. And instead you're busy being this simple, open, spacious presence. And each time you find yourself involved in your thought activity, that's okay. Very, very gently just let go of it. Like letting go of a rope or a rock or something that you've been hanging on to. You just relax your hand and it just falls away. And then you're back to being the sky. notice that this sky that's always there, this openness, is very still and very wide awake. There may be lots of things moving, lots of thoughts happening, lots of activity going on, body sensations, emotions, things in the room. All that is, as it were, appearing on this sky or within this sky. Be the sky. Feel that openness and spaciousness and ease. You don't have to generate a sky or somehow imagine a sky or work hard to LARP the sky. It's just what you actually are. You just relax and it's there. against this background of sky-like presence, just notice what all the body sensation feels like. It's not that we're in a body pretending to be the sky like awareness. It's that we are this open presence within which body sensations appear. So from this open spaciousness, just feel the body sensations. The feeling of your butt on the cushion or chair, the feeling of the air on your skin, the feeling of breathing, feeling of your eyes blinking, the feeling of your spine holding your body up. Lots and lots of other body sensations that just appear in the sky of awareness. They just appear in the sky of awareness. And then change or move or vanish or whatever. So from the vantage point of this wide open, boundless presence, notice these body sensations. And let go of the view that you are somehow stuck in the body watching it, but rather be this vast, boundless presence that is just aware of body. If you can, let go of the mental images of your body and your body posture and the way you look and all that, and just feel sensations arising in space. You're the vast space, you're the open sky, and sensations are just arising. Body sensations are just happening. We tend to assign ourselves some kind of location in that body sensation, but that's just a mental construction. Good. Now, in the same way, remaining as this spacious, open, wide awake presence. Feel the arising and passing of emotions. Emotions come and go, mainly as body sensations. If you're not having any emotions that you can detect, even little tiny wispy, flighty, 1 second long ones, then just stay with these regular body sensations. But otherwise, notice emotions passing in the face, emotions passing in the throat, emotions passing in the chest, emotions passing in the belly, all appearing in the sky of awareness. Spend 0 seconds trying to figure them out. That's not what we're doing here. We're just noticing, feeling them as phenomena, as clouds in the sky, as things that pass. Open sky has body sensations appearing in it. It also has emotional sensations appearing in it. Notice how the emotions keep changing, moving, flowing, transmogrifying, never the same from moment to moment. Given our predilection for distraction, just sitting in this wide open space, feeling emotion without getting into all the stories around it is a radical act. Just feel how you're feeling. And don't distract off into the story, and don't distract off into other stories, and just be with the sensations of it. Sometimes they feel good, sometimes they don't. It's just emotions happening. So what? Good. Next, in this vast, spacious openness and awakeness, in which we feel the body arising, we feel the emotions are happening. Notice you. Notice the arising of the personality, the you. The sense of judgment, sense of likes and dislikes, sense of wanting this and not wanting that, sense of, oh, I'm this kind of person or I'm that kind of person. And just notice all that arising and moving and changing in the sky of awareness. You don't have to get involved with it. It's just something you can watch coming up. Oh, I like that. Oh, no, don't like that. Oh, I'm this kind of person. I'm not into that. Oh, I'm that kind of person. I like this thing. All of that identification with a personality, just notice it occurring. You don't have to do anything with it. Just let the sky of awareness be naturally aware of it. Also notice the tremendous sense of freedom when you don't have to actually be it. Because we're pretending to be that a lot. Staying outside the thinking mind, you're not involved with it, but you can watch it. And watch the personality machinery just doing its thing. Remember when you were little, you didn't have that. And then when you were a little bit older than real little, you made it all up. You slowly forged a personality and then crawled inside it and pretended to be that forever. But it's just a thing you made up. The sky is utterly free of that. Good. Now, notice the world around you. It's by either listening or if your eyes are cracked open a little bit, looking or whatever. And notice that in terms of this boundless sky of wakefulness, there's no inside or outside. Because there's just body sensations arising in one part and visual and auditory sensations arising in another part, but there's no real fundamental separation. They're all in the same vast, boundless awakeness. They're not separate. Distant auditory or visual objects are just as close to awareness as the most intimate feeling in your heart. There's zero distance from awareness. It's boundless. It's like the sky. So notice that in terms of wakefulness, the so-called internal world and the so-called exterior world are just one world. The same awakeness in which the emotions arise and the thoughts arise is the same awakeness in which the sounds and images of the world arise. There's no separation at all. body sensations and emotions arise in the sky of awareness. Personality and thinking arises in the sky of awareness. Let go of that idea of being awareness generated in brain, and the brain is in the head, and the head's in the body, and the body's in the world, and just flip it. There's just vast, spacious awareness with all the things of the world arising inside of it. You are not in the world is in you and is in no way separate from you. And it's interesting, all these appearances. The personality is something that arises in awareness, but it's not ever actually separate from awareness. It's an expression of awareness. And the emotions arise in awareness, but they're never ever separate from awareness. They are an expression of that primordially pure, clear, wide awakeness. Body sensations arise in awareness, but they're never actually separate from awareness. They are an expression of awareness. The whole world arises in awareness, but it's not somehow separate. Nor is it merely an illusion. It's an expression, an exuberant expression of that wide awake, primordially pure, unborn, perfect awareness, perfect awakeness. And if you look for the perfect awakeness itself, it's not something you can ever really find, because it's not a thing. So notice that even with that, there's just mystery, beauty, completeness. Love. So again, come back to just resting as the sky-like, boundless awareness you truly are. But pushing away nothing, separate from nothing. Exuberantly giving birth to everything. just rest as that. There's nothing to cultivate, nothing to push away, nothing to bring close, just simply being presence. Very good. Let's end with doing some home again, just like we did before. But just notice now from this new place, this isn't you as a personality with a body making some sound in some room. This is boundless awakeness itself, exuberantly giving birth to the appearance of self, world, room, and sound. So let's go ahead. I can hold forth here spontaneously for hours. But let's see what you guys have to say. If you have any things you want to report on, talk about your experience, ask this or that, or whatever's coming up, you're welcome to do that. Faiza will bring around the microphone. Just raise your hand. And two things to remember. One, we're streaming live to the intercesspool, so it's going to be out there forever. And then the other thing is everyone just had a nice meditation, so be a little mindful of your speech. So raise your hand if you have anything you'd like to say. We have a taker over here.
So since the retreat, I've been researching pranayama a bit, and we did this alternative nose breathing. I was curious, when you're doing that, are you supposed to be pushing the air, or should it be like a totally normal breath, or do you think it should be subtle? And then the other question I had was, I read that in my book about pranayama that
Pranayama, yeah.
Sorry, how is it?
Pranayama.
Pranayama.
Yeah.
That one nose is for one channel, one nose is for the other nostrils for the other channel, and then you can like take a little survey of how strong your different channels are at different times by checking how much air comes out of your nose. What do you think about that?
Well, there's a lot to say about that. I mean, we're doing a whole course in that kind of thing coming up soon, sold out. But it takes a long time to discuss all the stuff about prana, right? It's a whole giant system. But in general,
online course?
Yeah, online course.
Fit one more in Zoom.
What's that?
I said you could fit one more in Zoom. It's infinite.
In any case, when we're doing alternate nostril breathing, usually called anuloma viloma or anulom vilom. Sometimes you can call it nadi shodhana. There's about 1 billion different ways to do it, depending on what effect you're trying to achieve. But for the most part, especially if you haven't done a ton of it, you just want to do more or less normal breathing. But let's say real slow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but you're not pushing anything, you're not trying to do anything hard or difficult. The main thing is to just keep alternating it, because then you're getting that bi-hemispheric thing going on, which is what is balancing the system and causing the brain to slow down a little bit. When you do a ton of it, like over months and years, then you start doing things like changing the ratio of the in-breath to the out-breath. So like count of 4 for an in-breath, count of 8 for the out-breath. You might even do holding in between, so count of 4 in-breath and hold the in-breath for a long time. So there's many, many, many things you can do with it. Mm-hmm. It's a whole complex system. But this basic, just normal breathing going back and forth, maybe normal slow breathing, slow deep breathing, going back and forth, achieves what we're trying to do here, which is just calming you down, calming your brain down before you meditate. Okay? And the rest of it we can go into at great length, but what your book said is typical pranayama theory.
Pranayama.
Yeah, so prana is what?
Energy?
Or air, or it's literally air, right?
Oh, okay.
But it's also life force, in the same way spiritus would be in Latin. Air and also kind of spirit. And then yama is control. Okay, so controlling or working with, doing work with energy. All right? Yeah. I've been doing it for a long, long, long time. It's fun stuff.
Thanks for sharing it.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for asking. Other comments or questions? Again, you're welcome to just talk about your experience or pose a riddle.
Hi.
I haven't seen you in a while.
I know. It's good to see y'all.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Oh, okay. So during my experience, I felt a lot of pain in my body and like a ton of sensations. And this process really have you thugging it out where you have to feel it and you really don't want to. And you gotta sit with that. But then if you can thug it out and just keep going, I was like, whoa. And then that one point, Michael, where you were like, okay, we mixing it all together. There's no separate nothing. I was like, oh. And then it's like kind of almost like all sensations just became one a bit. And I was like, wow. And I felt all this energy just flowing. And yeah, I appreciate this a lot as always. You know, I'm always give the experiential response. Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, that as you tune into that openness and stillness, it's kind of, I don't know, paradoxical. It's kind of funny because there's a ton of energy there, right? The stillness is, again, just generating everything and then receiving everything back. So there's a lot going on, even though it's just, in one way, just absolutely simple.
Oh, and then this is like kind of a question / observation. So would you say like the mind kind of like numbs out a lot of your sensations and pain?
You think?
Okay, that was rhetorical.
Yeah, we are, I mean, we live in the most distracted society that's ever existed, right? And what's the purpose of that distraction? To try to not feel how terrible everything is, right? We're trying to not feel what's going on. And so let's get really involved in something, right? Let's get really, really involved in some show or something. The trouble is then you can't feel the good stuff that's coming up either, right? And you miss what's going on, and we just sort of use the word numb out, right? Just kind of numb out into distraction. So even if you're doing, maybe even especially if you're doing real, a lot of mental stuff, there's nothing wrong with that, right? That's a beautiful part of human experience, and we can also overuse it as a kind of drug that we're administering to ourselves again and again and again, just to not feel. And someday you're gonna die, right? So am I. We're all gonna die, and you will have just kind of like distracted your way through the whole thing. And so all the action is outside of your mind. All the action is in this open presence where there's feelings and there's interbeing happening, and all the things of life are arising and passing and doing their wild dance while they're here. And most people are just kind of staring at their little screen in their mind while that's all happening, and they're just missing the whole thing, right? Now, granted, everybody's in a lot of pain, so there's a little bit of we've been distracted for a long time, so there's a cost there, where if you want to get back in the game, you have to feel the backlog a little bit, and that's not fun. But we've got the skills, we've got the ways of working with that, and then eventually you start getting back into the flow of things. You notice it's not just all pain. There's a lot of beauty and a lot of love and a lot of real generative, beautiful, creative stuff happening, right? So it starts to start to wake up to what's really happening instead of being lost in a dream inside a dream inside a dream inside a dream, which is you're just running from the pain, right? Remember Reggie Reyes tends to speak in a kind of intense manner. He's like, it's all just a howl of pain. It's like, okay. You know, the whole edifice we've created to just distract. So, yeah, there's some distraction going on there. But it's definitely worth coming back. It's worth feeling, right? Because then we're back in life, and we're back in the flow where there's the juice. The further you go off into the distraction, it gets drier and deader and drier and deader, and you notice there's just not, after a while, it's like, I need another 36-hour binge to try to feel something, right? So, the world awaits all of us right here.
Well, you ate that.
Thanks.
My turn.
It's your turn, Manny.
Hi, Michael. My name is Manny.
Hi, Manny.
I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaskar-ji.
My question is, well, it might be kind of stream of conscious, but I'll get to it eventually.
The stream of unconsciousness.
Perhaps. I find these practices both like very grounding and embodying and kind of dissociative at the same time. Where like I'm dissociating from my thoughts, my feelings, my sensations, my emotions. And then I'm kind of also feeling them at the same time, noticing them. And I guess my question is, when coming off of the cushion and bringing this into the world, how do you think about moving through the world as a present being that's also not identified with a personality or sense of self? Because there's part of that at times, as I explore it, can feel unmooring. It's like, whoa, if I'm not this personality, then how do I show up to this situation?
Yeah, no one said you can't have the personality operating. It's there doing its job, right? It can be be even better at its job, right? Because it's free to be a personality, but you're free to not be that at the same time. And I would push back a little on the dissociative word, because as long as you're feeling your feelings and feeling your body and all that, you're not dissociated. At least the way I define it. You're just disidentified. And that allows you this freedom to just, and again, it's not that even those things, thoughts and feelings, are somehow separate. They're still coming from the source that you are, right? But it's not all that you are. It's a tiny little fraction. And so to move through the world, we just let our thought and feeling personality do its thing. It's very good at it. It doesn't need any tending. You just don't have to pretend to be the sock puppet. Let the sock puppet do its thing while you're fully aware that it's a sock puppet. It's a fun, friendly, exuberant sock puppet. Okay? So it's not somehow, oh, I have to have no personality, or I have to, not, how would you do that? Personalities are what we use to move through the world, right? So it's completely fine that it's there. It's just like it's completely fine that we have an intellect. I mean, we want that, right? This isn't about somehow stopping your brain. If it was, it'd be so much easier. You just use a sledgehammer or like a bottle of whiskey or something, and then your brain stops. That's not what we're doing. You have a fully functioning intellect, but it's a thing that flows out of your awakeness, not something, not a cage to live inside. Okay, so it's just a different mood there. Okay?
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you for the meditation.
Thanks for coming.
This sit and a few other sits that I've had recently, it's been the first time for me in a long time that I've kind of broken out of this like fixation on like trying to achieve non-self. I've just been for forever. It was like I would sit and it's like okay, I'm noticing the self, and it feels very, it's like the self is experiencing whatever, and it feels very hardened. And then there would be some moments where I would break out of that, and like when I broke out of it, it was that was like all I could think about, was like how exciting it was that I didn't feel like a self anymore. And then more recently, like today, I was like I wasn't even thinking about it. I didn't know. It's hard for me to remember if it was like me feeling something, or if it was if there was just emptiness, but it was more just like a calm, and I was very embodied and concentrated.
Yeah, now it's starting to actually be a little bit outside the self, right?
As opposed to an idea.
Yeah. As opposed to now I'm the one who's outside of something. Right? So there's in between steps, but now it's starting to be like, oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I almost feel uneasy about it, just because it's not so identifiably.
It's not a thing. The mind, the intellect wants things to be things and likes them to be defined and rational, and the world just isn't.
Okay, I guess I just need you to validate that. Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
I had some interesting things happening energetically in this meditation, sort of like my body was being spliced in a pleasant way and kind of like reconstituted. It was very nice. I went to a Kundalini yoga class earlier today, so I felt very kind of fuzzy.
Yeah.
And it was pleasant. But at the very end of the meditation, my final thought was that, oh, I didn't try hard enough. I could have gone a lot deeper. And it was like this instant kind of criticism. And I understand that it's almost silly because like I'm here meditating, that's a good thing. And you know, your whole life is supposed to be your practice, but I'd love if you could speak to that. Yeah.
Speak to that, the voice that's kind of driving you to do more.
Yeah.
And criticizing.
Or like feeling like you're supposed to be doing more in your meditation somehow.
Right. I think we all have that, right? And it gets tied up with things like I'm not good enough, or I'm broken somehow, you know, the core wound type stuff. And then there's the things we're going to do to fix ourselves and all that. And of course, in a lot of ways, me and everybody else could use some fixing, you know, there's stuff that maybe I do need to figure out and learn and, you know, all that, of course. But on the level of this, what we're doing here, you already are it. And you're as it as you're ever going to be. Right? The awakeness is awake, it's already awake. And so the only thing to do is to let go of, I mean, in the simplest way of saying it, the belief that you're not that. And what's one of the main ways we believe that we're not that? I gotta do more. I gotta somehow get the thing that I already am. Right? So at least in terms of, you know, again, we can always clean up our room or whatever, don't get me wrong, but in terms of the spirit is already God, right? It's already awakeness, it's already the vibrant heart of the goddess or whatever. It's as awake as it will ever be, right? And so when you hear that voice, which is, we all are programmed with voices like that, it has its uses, but just in a way, just hug and love that voice and just be like, it's okay. You're okay right now. We're already there. Okay?
I'm gonna work on that.
Yeah, me too.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay. Thanks for your questions and comments, everybody. Let's, as promised, let's sit a little more. I'm thinking 2 or 3 hours.
Sure.
If you need to go to the bathroom, just hold it. going to